feel like King James. Like King James.
Sounds like it is straight from the motherfucking cassette.
I hate when you get to a point in your career where people feel like they got you figured out and there's no more surprises. I like people to press play on my stuff and still be surprised.
Turn it up, baby. No introduction necessary, you heard? Hey, yo. Okay. Hey, yo. Son.
One.
What's going on today? Dustin's dead. It's Weenie Hut Wednesday. Weenie Hut Junior Wednesday. As you can see, Dustin's dead. Don't know what happened to
taking
him.
over the show.
Yeah,
what
he's
happened
gone
to him.
forever.
Uh-oh.
What the hell happened? All right. It's
We got a
Wednesday.
Weenie Hut Wednesday here.
Yes, sir. January 20th, 2021. Week 3 of the Dusttin Bowerman Show, and he's not even here. But yeah, let's get it on. He'll show up eventually. Maybe. Hopefully.
Maybe he's already quit the show. I don't know.
Yeah, he's already done. We'll take it
But
from
what
here.
topics do we have today here?
Yeah, we got Code Me. No, wait, no, that's not it at
Wait,
all. That was yesterday. We've got Rainbow Six Siege, Bitcoin mining on the cheaters' PCs. We got a VALORANT Pro banned or pause tree stay. I think that's how you say it. And Zyoo's #1 on HLTV. CDL Expansion Teams and Cloud9 White beats RNG in a VALORANT tournament. That one was huge. I don't know if you saw anything about that, Max.
Yeah, that's big for them. It's I believe it's a tournament where it's like double elimination, and they're still not in the losers bracket yet. So that's
Yeah, it's
pretty big.
crazy.
Well,
yeah, I guess let's get into the Rainbow Six Siege Bitcoin mining.
Hello, am I here?
Oh, hey,
I had to break
he's
everything.
finally
I'm
made
back. I'm here on
He's
the
made
Weenie
it.
Hut Junior
Alright.
Wednesday. Oh my god, I'm sorry, guys. Fucking hell. Oh my god. Listen,
kicked off
we're
the
here.
show.
I was done. Oh my god, dude. The internet literally, for people wondering, my internet literally died like right as we started the show, bro. Today is already off to a terrible start. Daniel's upset. He's pissed off at me. It's understandable. My internet literally died on me like literally right before my mom. I went over to my mom. I was like, what happened to the internet? She's like, yeah, it's gone. It's gone. So it died on me before the show started. But hey, thanks. Good job, Anthony, for keeping it alive, bud. Good shit. Good shit on this Weenie Hut Junior Wednesday.
It was
We
almost
got
a
some for
woeful.
us.
What?
Cheating in Rainbow Six. What's happening?
Oh, good point. Good point. Apparently, according to Samantha, our research had apparently Rainbow Six Siege has always had big cheating issues, if that makes sense. So like they've pretty much had issues consistently going on throughout the history of Rainbow Six Siege. So what's happened is that recently, I think you did some of the research on this, Max, somebody has a cheat or somebody has enveloped with the cheat a Bitcoin mining device, right? Basically, they've pretty much attached to these cheats a system that will mine bitcoins on the cheater's computer throughout certain times of the day. And that to me is it's hilarious, right, Max? Like people are downloading these cheats just to be fucking scammed, basically. And it's kind of hilarious. It's poetic justice, right?
Yeah, first of all, the program that they use is called C69. That gets you an idea of what you're getting here. And so they have a Discord server.
Oh my god.
And I guess the admins of the server publicly put that, yes, this is a Bitcoin miner inside your cheat program. And we're sorry, but we got to make money.
he said we're sorry.
Yeah, they apologize, but not really, because they were like, oh, we got to make money.
How are these
for a
people not in
cheating
jail?
program.
How are they not in jail for this?
And that's what they said too in their apology, kind of. They say it might not be legal, but we still got to make money anyway. Even though Bitcoin mining isn't going to make money at all these days.
This is like, it probably won't make money at all. Like, this is like the ESEA days when ESEA was the premier, pretty much like the premier competitive, format for Counter-Strike players. We'll talk about Counter-Strike later, by the way. Zynoo ranked #1 on HLTV's list. But basically, ESEA was this program where professional Counter-Strike players would go to compete, and it still is. ESEA, I think, is still utilized, but I think it's between FACEIT and ESEA. But it's like the premier ranked system, basically. I think in Overwatch, they had a similar system as well, or they tried to, but the thing is, rank kind of just took priority. But in Counter-Strike, this has kind of always been the way that people play the games professionally. And ESEA was actually sneaking in a Bitcoin miner. They were sneaking in a Bitcoin miner into people's computers. And then when they got found out, they were like, hey, I'm sorry, it was because of my... There was some bad memes, bro. This was like early 2014. I don't even know if I can repeat these because it's actually... If I were to repeat exactly the whole scenario that happened with ESEA, I would be like, I'm pretty sure I would be canceled because it's pretty bad. Like the situation was, ESEA sent out like I don't want to get my facts straight here 100% because I'm recollecting basically something that happened in 2014. The owner of ESEA, I think, put out a video with his, I think like his mentally disabled brother or something like that, and then said it was because of this situation that the Bitcoin miner, like the whole thing happened. Like he had an apology video set out, like it was one of these like when it was in the time period when apology videos were just complete trash, and I think he was going for sympathy or something like that, and the whole thing was just really, really weird. And the whole era actually of that whole Bitcoin mining scandal is kind of hilarious, to be honest with you, because people are still doing it. People are still trying to shove in Bitcoin miners into these computers and stuff like that. And I don't know if this is a bad thing. Like, is it necessarily that bad of a thing that somebody has put in a Bitcoining device into cheaters' computers? Like, should we even feel bad for them?
I mean, for cheaters, that's one thing. Like, we definitely know that it might wreck people's computers. Like, having it on, like, CPUs and GPUs 100% on all day, that's going to ruin it and shorten its lifespan quite significantly. But then 100%. Again, they're cheaters.
Yeah, we can't feel bad for them, right? I mean, they went out their way to download these cheats. I mean, we talked about this the other day, Anthony. I think we mentioned how there was potentially cheaters in Tekken Online, right? Or what was that, Tekken Online, or was that Smash we were talking about?
No, it was Tekken. It's not potentially. There are cheaters.
What do they do in Tekken though to cheat?
Auto block literally everything. Auto break grabs.
So like they have.
So basically they'll just literally never take damage if they're not pressing buttons because their cheats will do it for them. So all they need to do is get a life lead, and if they know the other person knows they're cheating, they'll literally just stall with their life lead every round. Now it's pretty annoying. It's
have
actually
you ever seen
just
two cheaters go at it?
No, I have not.
Dude,
I faced one and I was like, this fucking sucks. They need to do something about this.
It's like Fall Guys when I think somebody did like the Cheater Island or something like that or whatever, a cheater server where everybody's cheating to get to the end, and it's just hilarious fucking carnage. It's kind of like that, except not. Oh yeah.
Well, I have seen people say about Rainbow Six is that it's a competition to see who has the better cheats.
It's true.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Sam talked about that before. Our research head, Sam was like, Rainbow Six Siege has some of the worst cheating problems, I think, in history, in esports and gaming history. And I think the same thing was for Counter-Strike, like back in the day, back in 2014. By the way, when I got Supreme Master First Class, I just want to put that out there. You know what I'm saying? I just want to put it out there that I got SMFC back in the day, back in like 2015, 2016 era. Or maybe it was like 2016, 2017. Anyway, regardless, I almost got Global Elite. But this was during the hardest time, guys. This was during the hardest time of Counter-Strike when it was near impossible to pretty much get rated in top, basically, it was hard to get Global Elite because there were so many cheaters in the rank system and stuff like that. And that's why people tried to play ESEA and so many people tried to play FaZe and stuff like that, is because the cheating problem was so bad in Counter-Strike. And now it seems like, according to Samantha, that it's basically become this... It's similar to Counter-Strike, basically, in that the cheaters are so fucking bad that it just ruins the whole experience, and it kind of makes people tilted. And even for Rainbow Six Siege, I can confirm as well with Sam on this one. Rainbow Six Siege is one of the fucking most annoying games to play against cheaters, without a shadow down my mind. Like, it just feels like the most bullshit crap because they'll kill you as soon as there's a breakable wall. They'll kill you as there's something they can shoot around. They'll kill you through windows. They'll kill you through whatever they want, basically. Spawn camp you. You're coming out. They'll jump out the window and just frag your entire team. It's some of the most annoying crap. And Rainbow Six Siege is already a hard game on top of itself. So when somebody's good, somebody's like fucking really annoying to play against too. I mean, there's been accusations even against professional players of cheating in Rainbow Six Siege, in which that they were wrong. I think if we could pull up the exact name of him, I'm sure Sam knows who this is, and she's probably laughing at me for not knowing who it was. But there was a Six Siege player that actually got pretty much like kicked out of the scene because another pro was like accusing them of cheating. And it was this huge scandal back and forth. And I think the Score Esports did a report on it as well. Siege has some of the most interesting storylines. It feels like Siege is kind of, to be honest, a scene full of babies. And they all deserve Bitcoin miners in their computer, to be honest with you. At least my opinion. I don't know if you agree.
That's probably one of the only games that I left because of the community. Because I really loved that game. I played during the beta. I think it was with you. We loved playing the beta back then. But it was, I don't know, the community just gets way into it, and they shout you down whenever you do a slightly small thing wrong. And I kind of had enough of that.
I mean, I might, honestly, I might come back into the scene. I might come back into the Rainbow Six Siege scene, only because I personally really like it. But the problem is that people are so good now, right? People are so good at Siege, and it's like, how am I supposed to know if they're cheating or not? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pull a fucking Kefri and just go out and accuse everybody. I don't know. What'd you say? You had something to say, Maxter?
Oh no, it's just I wish I wanted to go back into that game. It's like one of the most like tactical things, because it's in like a small enclosed space. Usually the maps are, so you have to like check every corner, and you have to use a lot of teamwork in that. But I don't know, maybe we will go back to it.
Hey, maybe we'll come back to Siege, or we'll wait for another esport to come out. I mean, that's my personal philosophy, is that another game will come out that'll probably be as big of an esport. I mean, we'll probably be older by that point. I think we'll probably be 24, 25 or whatever by the time a brand new esport comes out, on a similar scale of Valorant and stuff like that. But apparently, so according to Daniel, apparently people in the chat are asking about console players buying mouse and keyboard and playing with adapters on consoles. And we'll talk to aBeZy about this later, because there's been people that have done this in the past. There's actually a joke that Envoy in the COD League, Envoy used to actually play on mouse and keyboard in tournaments, and people were fucking pissed off at him because he was playing on console with a mouse and keyboard. And according to a lot of console players, this is cheating. This is not exactly ideal. Like, you can't play in COD League with a mouse and keyboard. Now, that's not to say, listen, maybe we'll save the COD League talk for later, because we already have another topic on later, but I guess we could bring it up now. With COD League, basically they just moved, for people that don't know, COD League just moved to PC. PC is now the platform that these former console players are playing on in COD League. Yet you still can't play with a mouse and keyboard. So it's basically, to kind of run it down, last year in CDL, they were playing on, I think, PS5s, PS4s or whatever. They were playing on the recent PlayStation. And then this year, PCs are now the easiest way to have the highest level of competition, because previously consoles can only get 60 FPS, right? You're locked to 60 FPS. And now with COD League in this year, because it's on PC, players can play upwards of 240 frames now, 200 megahertz on their computers, on their PCs, and on these monitors and stuff like that. And I think it's going even higher. Like, you can potentially get up to 300 on certain monitors. But I think in COD League, they just wanted that transition. And people have joked that basically there's been a lot of these COD League, even pro players, that are still playing on 60 hertz and just realized they were playing on 60 hertz still. Like, these people swapped to PCs and they were like, oh, I didn't even realize 6 months into playing on PC that I'm still on 60 hertz. And these are professional players that are joking about it. So I think COD League as a whole is going in an interesting direction, because the chat mentioned how these PC players that are playing on mouse and keyboard on console are potentially cheaters. And I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not really one to kind of give you a firm agreement on this or not, because I'm a PC player myself. I mean, I played console back in, I don't know, 2008, when I used to play like fucking Star Wars Battlefront 2, like the original on the PS2. That was like the original console games that I played, but eventually I switched to mouse and keyboard and PC when I played SpongeBob Monopoly. Speaking about SpongeBob, I missed the goddamn intro, guys. I'm sorry. I know this is a little bit off topic here, but I missed the Weenie Hut Junior intro. Can I get another Weenie Hut Junior? Can we prepare for it, guys? Max and Anthony, can we do a quick for me? Because I just wanted to do this in homage. I deserve it. Come on, man, an homage to SpongeBob Monopoly, bro. Give me a hut when I say hut. Come on now. Come on. I deserve it. Let me do it real quick before we continue. All right, Anthony, are you ready? Anthony.
I guess.
All right. There's no point either. Fuck. Okay. Guys, we're going to continue. Because of SpongeBob Monopoly, I just wanted to recollect here. It's Weenie Hut! That was so bad. That was so delayed.
I'm not doing it
Junior
again.
Wednesday. We're never doing it again, but listen, because it's SpongeBob Monopoly and because of my old PC past, I just wanted to bring it up. Do you guys think that PC mouse and keyboard players playing on consoles is cheating? That was the question we got in the chat room. Is playing on a mouse and keyboard on console, is that considered cheats? Now, we're not console players, but is that cheats, guys?
Not to me. I mean,
Probably.
You don't think it's an advantage?
I mean, it's an advantage. It's an advantage everyone has access to.
This is like, I guess, Anthony, so this is kind of like, imagine if in Tekken or imagine if Mortal Kombat or whatever, you're playing one of these fighting games that are, you know, preferably you'd be on fight sticks, right? For some, like Street Fighter, right? You'd rather be on a fight stick for Street Fighter, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that. I mean, like, if somebody's playing with a fight stick and you're on a mouse and keyboard in Street Fighter, are they cheating by being on a fight stick on PC? Is it that's kind of like the train of thought that goes into it.
I don't get your analogy because there are fight sticks on PCs.
No, I know, but I'm saying that PCs are naturally mouse and keyboard. So what are these people doing with fight sticks on PC if they should only be using fight sticks on arcade machines? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, it's not exactly directly fair because at the same time when you're playing on a console, when you're playing Call of Duty or whatever, when you're playing on consoles, you know, I guess it's like, okay, we're all console players. We're all console, you know, not plebs. Okay, I don't want to say console plebs because, listen, I'm a fan of Call of Duty, console players and stuff like that. I don't want to offend anybody here. Listen, I'm all for the umbrella of, you know, PC master race, master race, okay? We're in the gaming master race, you know what I'm saying? That's my opinion. But I think overall, people are saying that, like, okay, I'm playing on a mouse and keyboard, or I'm playing on a controller, I'm playing on a console like this. You know, is it cheating when the guy is playing on a mouse and keyboard when I can't even afford a mouse and keyboard with an adapter? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like $400, $500 or even less budget systems. Then it's like they only have the choice to play a controller because that's what it came with their console. And I guess that's like the kind of the train of thought that goes behind it. Because Envoy, like I said, to bring it back to him, on the previously Chicago Huntsman, now the LA, now he's on the Optic team that got rebranded, I believe. Hexry bought the Optic brand, and now Envoy's still on that same team. But Envoy basically used the mouse and keyboard adaptation back on when people were not, like, appreciative of that. They were like, okay, you're cheating when you're playing on a mouse and keyboard on the console. And, you know, that's kind of the situation that people are asking. And I think it's not a fair thing for us to kind of critique it, to be honest with you. I think, like I said, aBeZy will be on later in the show. We can ask him about it, and considering he's been on console for so many years now. But we were talking about, like, CDL potentially could go down the mouse and keyboard route. I just want to mention this real quick. They could go down a cross-platform route similarly to Fortnite. Fortnite's gone down cross-platform, and a lot of the console players are upset. And this seemingly is like a trend, is that console players do not want to play with mouse and keyboard players, which, to be honest with you, I kind of understand. I think it's kind of vice versa. It's like, I don't really know if when I was playing the new Call of Duty, not Warzone, I think mouse and keyboard is still fine on the previous iteration on COD. But in Cold War, it's incredibly hard to keep up with these controller players. Like, it's so hard. I tried to actually grind my ass off for COD Cold War because I wanted to be like a solid mouse and keyboard player, right? Like, I was like, okay, I want to play a mouse and keyboard against, you know, these controller players, and I want to be known for somebody that's good on mouse and keyboard in Call of Duty. And then I tried it, and I was just getting absolutely fucking shit on by even, like, 12-year-old Jimmies that played the game for like 2 days on their new controller. And I'm just like getting absolutely dicked down. And I'm like, okay, well, fuck, this is hard as shit. There's no way I could do this because controllers are so much better than mouse and keyboard in the Call of Duty region, in the Call of Duty scene. And I think there's some arguments to be had otherwise. But for right now, it seems like cross-platform isn't a thing just yet for the Pro League, but it's seemingly trending in that direction. And I think a lot of the community in the COD community, because I've been browsing the COD competitive Reddit for pretty much the past couple years. Like, it's been my main subreddit that I like to visit. And pretty much every situation in this where COD League has a chance to be cross-platform, people have not been liking it. Like, they're like, okay, we don't want to play with PC players, you know, controller only, basically. And I think, you know, that's fine. I totally get it. It's their community. They don't want it to be taken from them, because if you go to Call of Duty being on PC, they're like, okay, we're going to have all these Counter-Strike players playing in our fucking game. Like, we don't even want them. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like this secluded group where they feel like they have their own, community and their own feel and stuff like that. And I totally get that. I appreciate that, and that's why the COD scene is so much fun and so much more interesting than, to be honest, pretty much every other esport. Is because the Call of Duty scene is so passionate. The pro players are so passionate that it's really unlike anything else, and it's one of the best scenes in my opinion, just in terms of passion alone for their scene. And I think it'd be interesting if. Like, this is just like what I personally want. This is personal bias. I still want cross-platform for Call of Duty, but we can talk about that in just a little bit. We'll finally go on past it. And the only reason I talk about COD a lot here, by the way, on the show is just because personally I love Call of Duty. Like, I love the Call of Duty scene, if that's not apparent, and it's probably my most favorite esport by a decent margin, and that's why I like talking about it so much. But
I still think you're wrong.
I'm not wrong. You haven't even watched CDL. You haven't even fucking watched the COD League.
So that's what you think.
No, it's what I know. You haven't fucking watched it.
I've watched a bit, and I was disgusted.
You need to sit down. You need to sit down and just watch it, okay? I mean, okay, maybe not, okay? But listen, in terms of most enjoyment, just for me, in terms of mechanical skill and stuff like that, I think it's probably because I feel like it translates from Overwatch a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because it's so fast-paced. And maybe my brain is, adapted where it's I now have ADHD, not because I naturally have ADHD, but because Overwatch gave me ADHD in the brain. You know what I'm saying? So it's now I can't even focus on anything that's not as fast-paced as Overwatch. You know what I mean?
No,
maybe it's done that to my brain.
Overwatch causes ADHD.
Overwatch causes brain cells to be fucking magnified and scattered in the brain. And maybe that's why I'm so scatterbrained. I think somebody said in a recent video of mine about my opinion on something. Obviously, with Overwatch tank players, they're like, I couldn't watch more than 2 minutes of this. I lost my brain cells watching this. And I was like, listen, man, welcome to my boat. I have no brain cells left, so I'm just here to spew information that doesn't make sense. And speaking about information that...
I just want to touch on the whole keyboard mouse versus controller thing. Is I don't think it matters at a low level, or not in non-pro level. I don't think it actually matters. Right? I think at mid to low levels even, controller players have the advantage because of aim assist.
I think you're going to get a lot of hate on that one, Anthony. I think you're going to at lowest. Are you saying lowest of low levels, below mid tier? You're saying the shittiest players in the fucking
even
history.
in mid tier.
No. I disagree. I disagree. Are you
I feel like it's the opposite of that. I feel like mouse and keyboard is intuitive to shooters, while controllers you're just going all over the place. I guess aim assist, would probably help that a bit. But at the pro level, controller guys are good at controllers, and I mean, they're
have you
good
seen
even?
Have you seen an Apex where pros will specifically avoid close range fights if they know the opponent's using a controller because they will get literally lasered down?
Oh, I don't know.
So that's what I mean, though, is that Call of Duty's all close range, right?
So
Call of Duty's all really close.
So while that's true, so why should there be aim assist then if you think you're so good on controllers?
It's because pretty much it's just you can't really play a majority of the history of Call of Duty in consoles as a whole has always had aim assist. So it's that's the reason. It's just it's always been in the system, because I think the devs realize without aim assist, playing on a console is just not as intuitive, and it just feels way worse. I think is the reason behind it, Anthony. So it's that's why they need aim assist. It's just because it's it's been in it for so long, and literally the game is unplayable without it. Is what I would be on your side if this was maybe back in 20 fucking maybe 12 when I was when I had a hate boner versus console players. And we all come in. Well, listen, as PC master race people, okay, as PC users, we've all been there. Let's be real. We've all been on the fuck console hate train at some point, okay? That's how it is. Once you change from console to PC, you join the dark side temporarily. Eventually, you realize that it's just bullshit, crazy, fucking juvenile crap. But, we've all been there. We've all been in that mind state where we're okay, we hate console players, we whatever. You know what I'm saying? But now I realize as I'm growing up, I'm okay, maybe these console players, need aim assist. Maybe it's part of the system. That's how it works. And we shouldn't really judge them too harshly. Didn't
Blizzard have to change Torbjorn on consoles so that he wasn't overpowered because they didn't know how to aim over there?
They basically... had the entire patch changes and the entire balance changes that happened to Overwatch are entirely different than on PC. Like there's a console and then a PC patch change basically whenever new patches come out, because it's so like unbalanced in one direction.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's kind of like it reminds me of TF2, where the console version just gets completely ignored, and it's like a completely different game on there.
It's not. Yeah, people don't play it anymore. That's why they, especially like that's why they play like Call of Duty and stuff like that. It's just because I know there's passionate Overwatch fans on console, but there's honestly more intuitive games and more fun games to play, on console. And that's just how it is. And speaking of which, actually, Overwatch did come out on the Switch. So maybe one of these days we'll do a Switch to top 500 game. I'm terrible on fucking controllers, honestly. But you know who is good on controllers? You know which pro is actually good on controllers? I can't even put it back on the stand. You know who is actually good on controllers that's a mouse and keyboard player? Actually, Sinatra. Sinatra in the VALORANT Pro for Sentinels. He actually probably, I think he said he would like potentially go pro in Call of Duty. And I think he probably could. I think there's certain players like genetically, history-wise, and who they are as people would just go pro in like many different games. You know what I mean? Like the top players. Okay, how about this? This is a good debate. Do you think that the top players in PC, the top players like Faker, the top players like Sinatra, aBeZy later on in the show, one of the best players in Call of Duty right now, do you think they could go pro in other games cross-platform regardless of their background, just because A, they're hard workers, or B, they're just gifted, talented esports legends? Do you think they could go pro and cross into other genres, other games, or no?
It's hard to say. I mean, I don't think like a pro FPS player could go into fighting games. Like, not unless they had the same dedication for like a couple years into it.
That's what I'm saying though. That's what I'm saying is that they
if
have
they were to
that
dedicate
drive.
literally 2 years of just practicing the game and like practicing going pro in it, a couple years, then maybe. But I still have to wonder because it's still an entirely different genre.
So do you think Faker could go pro in Call of Duty?
I have some doubt. Like, we all have like our expertise in types of games.
I agree, but
muscle memory and intuition that probably doesn't get carried over.
Yeah.
The thing is, well, you're right, but I think the thing is that generally people that are just good at games, you know what I mean? Like, gonna be the best, like the GOATs of their game, the best players of all time in their game. Do you not think that they have that that they have the work ethic? That's the biggest two things. They have the work ethic and the talent to bring them to the top. Do you not think they could bring that to other esports? And I think, in my opinion, I guess I differ than you guys here. I think that people that go pro in other games, and are the best, not just go pro, like they're not just an average pro. They're the top 1% of the 1% of the 1%, like the very, very, very top. And I think that those players are on another level in terms of everybody else. They're just greater than everybody else, and where they could bring that general drive and then also game mechanic. Like if you understand a video game, I don't know if it necessarily translates directly to other games, but I think it gives you a little bit of understanding of where these people come from and where they can potentially go. Like Celium in Call of Duty in the CDL. We'll end it off here, but we'll go to the next topic after this one. But Celium in the CDL, he's known for being a troll, basically. Like, this guy's nerdy is what they call him. He's the guy that there's this meme, it's like, you could do it too, phase up, is what he says. And that's pretty much because he used to snake, and what snaking is in Call of Duty, where you would just prone, I think, and then you would crouch up, and it would create this hitbox where you just couldn't be hit. So, like, there was an example in a video in Call of Duty, if you could probably look it up, where 5 people are trying to shoot one guy, and they can't hit him. So he can kill all of them in the time frame that it takes for the other team to even do like half his health in the time that he keeps snaking and keeps bugging the system. And Celium used to do this all the time at LANs and stuff like that until it was GA'd and removed, basically, where people would use to snake and basically break the game because Call of Duty was obviously broken to that degree. And Celium used to do it all the time, and people would get pissed the fuck off. Like, I think the whole story is formal now of Optic Gaming yelled at Celium across the LAN. He was like, hey, stop snaking, what the fuck you doing? And then Celium was like, you could do it too, phase up. And like, that's the whole meme with him, basically. Now he's teammates with aBeZy, and one of my favorite players just because he's such a nerdy like asshole to that degree. I'd love that story, to be honest. But all right, we can move on, guys. Speaking about people banned for cheating and using game mechanics and stuff like that have broken here, I think, who is it, Anthony or Max did a little bit of the research on this one. Basically, Rapaz Triste, how do you pronounce his name, for Movie Star Writers, was caught using third-party software, a.k.a. cheating, in Valorant, and he was banned. But he was ratted out by his teammates, right? He was snitched on by his teammates.
Yeah, supposedly his own teammates called him, talked to someone else about it because he was being too good since he was averaging over 26 kills a game. It was like, that's kind of sus in pro games, right?
Yeah,
there's no way.
Oh my god. Imagine getting outed by your fucking teammates, bro.
What a bunch of snitches.
What a bunch of snitches, bro. I don't know if I should tell this story about the. I want to say which team it was. It was not in Pro League. Okay, I do want to say this. It was never at the professional level. Okay, I just want to admit this right now. This was never when I competed in Overwatch League. This was never when I competed on the Overwatch professional level. And I'm probably gonna get hate for this, so I totally understand. But basically, I was teammates with a guy in a tournament that didn't really matter. It wasn't really for anything. I was the best player on this team by like a fucking massive margin, right? Like, not to be an asshole, but I was like way better than everybody else on this team because, I mean, to be honest, they were like diamonds, plat level players, and I was like top 500, top 10 player pretty much at the time in terms of ranked. Okay, not in actual terms of Overwatch. I've never been a top 10 player in terms of well, I guess in my role, maybe top 10 player in terms of Overwatch. But in terms of actually competing at these levels, I was much higher than the rest of these guys. And this guy on my team, we were pretty much like about to lose this like whole thing. It was like a season-long thing. We were about to lose it. And he was like, hey, Dogman, should I cheat? He was like, hey, I have these cheats. Should I use them? And I was like, bro, I don't know if I'm the person to ask about that for first of all. And I'm just like, bro, listen. You do you. You do you. You do whatever you want with your life, okay? I'm not in charge of whatever happens to you, for one. And then for two, whatever the repercussions are, that's your fault, basically. I'm not in charge of you, okay? Now, I understand this is probably me being a little bit of an idiot here because, listen, I didn't directly tell him no. I didn't directly say he's an asshole for trying to cheat in the first place. But I think, by the way, now I don't know. I don't have confirmation, but I believe he actually did cheat in one of the matches we played. And we still lost. we still fucking lost, even though he cheated. We still lost the match, even though he cheated, basically. And I don't know if he got banned for that, though. I kind of just left the whole scenario after that one because I was so disgusted with what happened. Does that make me an asshole for not directly telling him no in that situation, even though it wasn't really... I want to
say yes. That's it. That's
Max?
all I have to say.
You kind of egged him on. Maybe not.
I did not egg him on. There's no way. There's no way I egged him on. He came to me about it. He came to me and he said he's going to cheat.
But I don't know.
Listen, I'm not going to out the guy. I don't want to like ruin his life. You know what I'm saying? I think he's moved on.
At this stage in your life, you were probably doing whatever you could to get into the pro leagues.
Are you saying I cheated?
Not you. But you're saying maybe you won't be mad if you did and won.
I don't know if I would I play with a cheater again? That's the thing. If you knew when you're okay, let me ask you this, guys. If you knew that somebody was cheating on your team and they got away with it and they would always get away with it, would you out them? Would you leave the team or would you not play with them anymore if you knew they were cheating but they would never get banned?
Like,
would you still play with them?
At a higher level or like
at a high level, like the pro level?
Probably leave.
Yeah,
probably leave.
Yeah, that's dangerous
probably leave?
to me, isn't it?
Or say something. I would have something to say about it.
Because
so are you saying that my ethics
difference.
and my morals are wrong because I would keep playing with cheaters, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, I would just do it because like you're afraid of yourself. That could probably taint you.
That one. Pretty much. It's for
But
my
you're
own
not
self-preservation is I would have to tell somebody else.
But you're not cheating.
Maybe
Yeah,
not you yourself, but it's like...
You didn't know how it's going to be reported.
Yeah, that one.
Right,
I'll just say your
so it's
team
like being
is a
the getaway
cheater.
driver. It's like being a getaway driver in a bank robbery, is what you're saying.
Pretty much, kind of.
I don't know about that, but it's complicit. It's like what I'm reading right here, that you're complicit.
Okay, well, I agree with Samantha here. I would probably be pretty pissed off that somebody did get to this level through cheating. I mean, to be fair, I think originally I was kind of pissed off that, like, Baby cheated in Counter-Strike. I was like, okay, this guy actually cheated in the video game before. It's like, okay, now I'm playing with somebody that actually, you know, didn't put in the effort, didn't put in the work to actually become a top-level player. And I can kind of understand it from that perspective. Okay, I can understand it from that. I mean, I've never done it. I've never played with somebody at the highest level with a cheater. Like I said, this was not at the highest level at all. Like I said, these were much like diamond players, basically, in a tournament that didn't matter, in a match that didn't really matter. So I was like, I guess in that degree, like, if somebody was at the pro level doing this, I would be fucking furious too. I probably would be furious as well. But I think in terms of my morals and my ethics, obviously, they're not in the right places. And I would not have snitched. Okay, I'm not a snitch. Okay, boys? I ain't a fucking snitch. Snitches get goddamn snitches. You guys fucking snitched on your teammate. I understand. Okay, he was a cheater. And he was dropping, what, 29 kills a game, you said?
Over
he
26.
was dropping, like...
On average, he had
God.
over 26 kills a game.
And that's ridiculous considering, like, games can only go to what? Pretty much 24? That's like the max or whatever, 24 rounds, right? Or is it like 12 rounds? 12 wins total?
It's win at 13 rounds.
So win at 13 rounds. So average rounds maybe like 17, 18, 19 rounds, right? Probably 19 rounds, probably the average rounds in a Valorant game, I imagine. So it's like he can't. That's hard. That's a hard stat. It's a hard stat to get. But he only played 3 games, apparently, according to you, Anthony, before getting booted from the team. And I don't know, man. That's pretty fucking silly, to be honest with you, bro. Imagine cheating. Couldn't be me. I tried before. I did try before back in that game I was telling you about, Nexon. What was it called? CS.
Combat Arms?
Fuck. What was the game? Combat Arms, baby. I did try cheating in Combat Arms. I did try cheating.
To be fair, everyone cheated on that game.
Everybody's cheating in that game. It looked like so much fun. It was so much fun because you would just get killed from, like, literally when you spawn, you get shot in the balls and die. Like, the nut shot, the cheaters would always set it up because in that game, there was the headshot hitbox, and then there was the ball sack hitbox. And even, pretty much, if you got shot in the balls, you would also get one shot. So it's either you get shot in the head, one shot, balls, one shot, and cheaters would set their aim lock to shoot in the balls. So it'd just be, you'd see in the kill feed in the top right, nut shot, nut shot, nut shot, nut shot, by this person that was using the fucking Secret Ops like woman's skin because she had a smaller hitbox, and like and he'd be using a minigun, and it was just, oh my god, Combat Arms is so much fun, bro. Actually, the best game of all time in terms of cheating level and so much in entertainment value to come from it. But Nexon's moved on to better and probably brighter things, to be honest with you, than Combat Arms. But I actually didn't download cheats, by the way. I tried to look them up, like I tried to download cheats, and then I literally got my computer like 1,000 viruses. I had to F-drive my computer like multiple times because I kept trying to get cheats back in the day. Good times, good times. But somebody that didn't cheat, somebody that's actually been a top player for upwards of 2 years now, just playing on a tier 1 level in Counter-Strike, people actually speculated this guy was a cheater in the very, very, very beginning, but they kind of had better understanding of what to do about it because Rops was also seen as a cheater back in the day in CS. And with this guy, it's kind of a similar level where he's just so insane and so mechanically gifted and so intelligent. Zynoo, by the way, Zynoo's the guy. He is just on another level. He's just won HLTV, or not won it. He is the HLTV #1 player 2 years in a row, back to back. And I think this has happened 2 times before. This has happened with, I think, Get Right and who was the other guy? It was Get Right and there was one more. It's off the top of my tongue. I can't recite it exactly if somebody can help me out here in the past, but there's basically Cold Zero. That's what it was. These 3 players have gotten back-to-back HLTV #1s 2 years in a row, basically. And then this has been, HLTV has been around for 8 years now. The HLTV top 20 list has been around for 8 years now. So if you do the math, that's 6 times, basically, that somebody's won #1 back-to-back years in a row out of 8. So the other 2 times that somebody hasn't done it. So the majority of the people that have won or that have gotten HLTV #1 has been back-to-back winners, which is kind of interesting because it kind of tells to the fact that once you're so good at Counter-Strike, and these people, once you're so good at Counter-Strike, it's hard to reach their level. And that was the thing that I realized when I tried to go pro in Counter-Strike. I was like, I tried to compete against these professional players. I would play, and I would get I think I played 1 game against like Tarek or whatever in like a random pug, and I got fucking shit on. Like, I got absolutely destroyed on another level these players are in terms of their peaks and mechanics, where it's just like you feel so outmatched. You feel so fucking like tiny compared to these pro players. And imagine playing against Zynoo, the consensus #1 player in the world. Simple was #2 with like a 1.3 average I don't remember the exact stats called, but he's been fucking insane. I think KDR or something like that. He's been absolutely insane as well, and he's only got #2 2 years in a row. And it's actually insane that Zynoo has kept up this consistency for so long. I can't imagine playing against Zynoo. I would get absolutely shit on. I can't imagine pro players feeling that same thing when playing against him as well. I guess in my early days of Overwatch, it was kind of like this when I played against like Surefour. Like in the beginning of Overwatch, when I played against Cloud9 for the first time in a professional match, this was my first time playing flex support. I was originally playing DPS. I was originally playing McCree, hit scan heroes like Soldier and stuff like that. And I tried to make the transition to flex support because I noticed there was a lot of room. There was not many flex support players just yet. So I was like, okay, I'm going to transition my DPS skills and become a flex support. And once I did, my very first time playing it was in a tryout with Method. And we basically, I only had like 4 days of practice, and I was playing against I was playing a Surefour and Cloud9 in a match, and I was just fucking like miserable versus Surefour, because Surefour was actually really insane at the time, and he probably still is really good. Surefour is one of the still top players in Overwatch, but he was fucking shitting on me so bad, and it was so embarrassing and so like depressing, and I was just like so nervous playing against him because Surefour was just a legend. Surefour was actually a god in the game, and I have so much respect for him that it was just like to a level where I would be mechanically playing worse. / also just he was just kind of outskilling me to some degree. We were on different roles. He's on DPS, I'm on flex support. But if it makes sense, playing against these top players, playing against Zynoo in Counter-Strike has to be on another level for a lot of these new players, a lot of these younger players also. Because considering Zynoo is still young, Zynoo is 19, 20 years old now, and he's only been playing in Tier 1 Counter-Strike for 2 years. He's been #1 for 2 years in a row. After just transitioning to the Tier 1 scene. This guy has fucking lit the goddamn Counter-Strike scene on fire, and considering how hard of a task that was to do, because Simple was on a level already compared to everybody else, that is an even greater feat and an even more incredible feat, considering we're just kind of witnessing greatness in Counter-Strike. We're witnessing greatness of Zynoo. We're witnessing the future GOAT, maybe, of Counter-Strike, and that's a hard title to grab. Zynoo's no exception to that. That's a hard title to grab through Get Right, which just retired to go into a streaming career, onto Flusha, all these top players in Counter-Strike that are extremely hard to overcome in terms of their accomplishments. Zynoo looks like he's on the path to do this, considering he's better than Simple. It's fucking crazy. We just saw a clip today of Simple hitting probably the most insane flick I've ever seen in my life, where he literally was in garage on Nuke. And he was like, there was a guy, he already got like 2 kills with the op before, and then a guy was trying to jump down into hell, like he was trying to bunny hop down into hell, and Simple was literally like a whole 90 degrees away from hitting him, and Simple flicks during the guy's midair jump in the B-hop over to hell, through the fucking wall, gets a wall bang onto this guy that's trying to B-hop into hell on Nuke, and one-shot headshots him immediately. Like, that was, even Simple was surprised by the shot. And guess what? Simple's not as good as Zynoo, and that's incredibly insane to say. And the top 20 list is totally out now, and to be honest, I love looking at HLTV's top 20 list every year. It's pretty much entirely based on stats, so it's some of the most interesting stuff out there. And, to be honest, like we said, some of these great players are just destined to be great. By the way, since we're running a little bit short on time, we've talked about so much stuff here now, coming on the 50-minute mark. It's kind of crazy because we thought today was going to be a slower day, didn't we? We thought today was going to kind of be a little bit slower. We're going to get like aBeZy ready, but we have still like 2 more topics to talk about before we fucking get to the end. And, I guess we can kind of gloss over some of these before we get aBeZy on. Maybe we could talk about Cloud9 in just a little bit here when Toberto's back from getting aBeZy and ready to go. But today's been a fun day, dude. We've already had some fucking hilariously interesting topics, at least to me, through cheaters. We're gonna get a lot of hate for this cheating thing, bro. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. Listen, don't fucking critique me too bad, please. Give me a break, man. Give me a break. I don't know. Give me a break here, man. Listen, just because I would play with a cheater doesn't mean that. Well, not at a pro level. Like I said, okay, listen, I'm going to get off this topic before I dig myself deeper into this hole. CDL expansion teams are potentially a thing before we can move on a little bit longer here. CDL teams are potentially a thing. Expansion teams are potentially a thing. There is an article from Esports Observer saying that COD League is hearing interest from different markets. Charlotte, Las Vegas, and DC are all potential expansion team locations for CDL teams. It's interesting because over the previous year, they were like, Call of Duty League and specifically their VP was like, okay, COVID-19 has kind of put an impact on COD League. Now, this isn't to say that it's been too impactful because COD League has still been, in my opinion, pretty damn successful. I think one just progressed over time. It got better and better and better as a product, and I think now it's even at the level and higher of the level of Counter-Strike for sure. And I think that, or not Counter-Strike, sorry, Overwatch for sure. And I think that's the most interesting fact to me is that CDL has taken this upward trajectory, this upward path to the top, to being such a good league, even during COVID-19. And that's kind of interesting because of the fact that also, Warzone's been so popular. We've seen a lot of streamers play Warzone and stuff like that, and that's kind of to it well. And to see, to be honest with you, because it's nice to see the progressive increase of people playing Call of Duty, people watching CDL and stuff like that, because like I said, this is the most interesting esport to watch. But I would be interested to see this. Why are so many teams, we talked about this before, Max and Anthony, we talked about this before, why are people fucking interested in Charlotte? Why is Charlotte one of the potential expansion teams for the CDL? Like, what's in North Carolina, bro? I gotta be real.
You just angered all of your viewers from North Carolina.
Oh man, I did, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it. Listen, what the fuck's in CD? What's in Charlotte? What the hell is in Charlotte, bro? I'm sorry. Oh, it's in. Wait, yeah, it's the next Austin, Texas. Samantha's saying there's no way. There's no way. Okay, listen, I may be being a boomer in this situation. Maybe Charlotte is going to be the next thing, but they said Las Vegas and DC are the speculated expansion team slots. No, I don't really like DC being one. It doesn't seem like there's that many esports fans in DC, though there are passionate fans in DC. It doesn't seem like there's that many, or like it doesn't seem like DC is that great of a market. Every team that we've seen go to DC, except for maybe hockey, has been kind of a failure in terms of the market in DC. It doesn't, like the fucking Washington Redskins or whatever, right? That you have,
they're a football team now.
The Washington football team. I apologize. The Washington football team. I'm actually gonna get hate for saying that their old name probably. The Capitals have been all right, but the Wizards have always been bad. They've been really good. They've been mediocre. Justice has had their own like fluctuation in roster. I really like DC being a spot, but I think Las Vegas might be the hot teams in the future, considering that so many people have been wanting it. Why aren't teams coming to Arizona? Why aren't fucking CDL teams coming to Arizona, man? We need a goddamn CDL here. Overwatch League team. What do you mean there's nothing here?
What do we got? The Grand Canyon? Who's gonna want to look at a hole in the ground?
You have gone there before.
That wasn't my choice.
What? Come on, man. You're telling me that nobody wants to come to Arizona is what you're saying right now. Nobody wants to move to Arizona. And nobody's interested. That's a lie, by the way.
Bro,
that's
hot
a lie.
As fuck. It's January and I'm burning in my room right now.
That's just because you don't have AC. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Come on, man. Just get AC, forehead. Just get AC. No, but people are actually. Oh yeah.
Well, the DC is like a huge place. I think it's like the 4th or 5th biggest metro area. So there's a lot of people who can go there. Las Vegas is probably one of the biggest cities to grow right now. It's probably an attractive market. I don't know about Charlotte, but maybe it's bigger.
Well, what's the point? Like, I don't know. Like, what's like DC? Like, I gotta be real, Max. I mean, sorry to interrupt you, but DC as a whole has been not a very like. I don't know if their esports scene is that thriving. Is my point. Like, I don't know if DC's esports scene is like that insane. You know what I mean? Because like we went there for the Justice homestand. I know this was during like before COVID was even a thing. We went there twice to DC for our first homestands because they, for some reason, DC got like 5 or 6 like events. Like basically homestands. By the way, if you don't know, for Overwatch League, they would host events where you can go in person and go watch these Overwatch League matches. And we would go to DC. We went there one time before, and the crowd was all right. Like I think there was maybe 100 people or so. Maybe a little bit more, I think, than that. It wasn't like that filled though. And then the next time during the COVID scenario, there was like maybe like, I don't know, 50. Like it was like there was like nobody at that event. And I don't even think it's not even because Overwatch really doesn't have a big fan base, because it does. I just don't. And I'm gonna get a lot of hate from DC fans. I totally get that, but there wasn't that many fans for the DC teams. While when you go to, for example, the Houston Outlaws event, there was a shit ton of people at that event. There was a ton of people. It was like a whole fucking fiesta. And in the Atlanta Rain event in 2, there was like over 500 people or some shit. That was also huge. It was so much fun at these events that had a lot of people. And I don't know if DC is that attractive as a market as we'd maybe think, you know?
That's why I also think that Las Vegas is probably a good place because
Yeah.
it's a huge tourist spot, and people probably would want to travel there to, like, I don't know, do their gaming stuff while also going to the casinos and things. That would be fun.
Oh,
Go to
yeah.
a homestand in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think that would be, I mean, in terms of, going to a homestand in Las Vegas, that'd be fucking lit. That'd be great. I think we've done it before. I mean, there was a Call of Duty event that we went to, and Overwatch people also went to back in, I think, 2016, 2017 or something like that. There was also a Call of Duty event going on there at the same time, so like we kind of had both. It was like a split venue. So I think a lot of the COD events did happen, like the COD World League Series, I think always happened in Las Vegas. I could be entirely wrong on this, so I apologize to COD fans that are watching that don't have, that know more about this, but I'm pretty sure a lot of COD's events actually happen in Vegas. And from what I hear, all of the events in Vegas are incredibly fun, and they're a good time. And especially since Vegas has always been a big thing. It's always been like a hot spot for people because they're pretty much performance based. Like all of Las Vegas, all of the down pretty much Vegas is just meant for entertainment, right? Like there's gambling, there's strip clubs, there's fucking whole venues
like
just meant.
stadiums and
Convention
centers. It's all built for that, yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, the Las Vegas stadium is being built too. It looks pretty sick. Like there's a lot of cool stuff happening in Vegas, and I think some of the more, I don't know, I would like to see more teams in Vegas only because it feels like to us, I don't know if I feel the only way, it feels like to us Vegas is probably the closest thing to Arizona in terms of like feeling like a home team. Am I wrong in this or no?
No, it's only a 5-hour drive.
Yeah, it's like
If you don't have it, then go over there.
They're another desert. They're like one of us. You know what I'm saying? They're fucking in another desert in the middle of goddamn nowhere, America. And to be honest, like it feels like I have a bigger connection, and maybe that's because I used to watch porn stores and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. Personally, I like watching Las Vegas teams, the Golden Knights and stuff like that. Oh my God, there's a lot of fun things in Las Vegas, though. Obviously, we can move on though, boys. Okay, we have to touch it before our aBeZy comes on. We're getting pretty close to the time. We've talked about some of these topics for quite some time. The show has been extended. Cloud9 White, before we get on, has beat RNG in a tournament. And for those of you who don't know, Cloud9 White is a women's only team in Valorant, a women's team in Valorant. 5 players on the team, they're all women, and they have beaten a fully built man's team called RNG. And recently, one of the members, what's her name? Nell, something like that. Either way, she pretty much just beat the Cloud9 team, beat Renegades in a tournament and just absolutely stomped them. It wasn't even close. It was just a stomp. It was like, 12-4 or something like that? 13-4 or some shit? And they absolutely shit on RNG. And then immediately after the match, I think while one of her, I don't know if it's one of her roommates or something like that, or her boyfriend was streaming, one of the Cloud9 White members was screaming like Renegades Tier 1 team, that's cap. And it was actually hilarious. It was one of the most interesting things I've seen in a while because this might be a big step for women in gaming, honestly. I mean, we've talked about this before. People have mentioned how our show is a little bit like, we're not women. Like, let's be real. We have people working behind the scenes. We have Ren, we have Samantha, but the guys on the show here, we are not, girls, obviously. So it's hard for us to really comment on all these situations with, not coming from our perspective. Listen, man, I just generally, we like to infer, obviously, to a lot of that information, a lot of that stuff to Sam and to Rin, by the way, to just double check and to get a lot of background information and stuff like that. So this whole thing, and to me personally, how I'm looking at it is this might be a big step. This is a small step for Cloud9 White because they could potentially be on the future. They could potentially be on their way to a top team in Valorant, which would be fucking awesome to see. But it's also kind of like a big step for women in gaming, you know what I'm saying? For females in gaming, because of the fact that I think in the future, this could potentially lead to, less and less prejudice against women, less and less about that stuff in rank. Because to be honest, you know, a lot of people like to say masculine toxicity is a big thing in gaming, and you know they're right for the most part. Like a large portion of gamers are males, and a large portion of the girls that do try to play games are heavily ridiculed or have gone through some traumatic experiences in actually playing competitive games. And I think that this step for Cloud9 White might end up being a bigger step for, you know, for women in gaming as a whole. And I'm curious to see if Cloud9 White can continue this path in beating tier 1 teams and beating top teams. Imagine Cloud9 beats 100 Thieves or Sentinels. That would be fucking sick. Hopefully this team will continue to improve. This wasn't a qualifier event, by the way, for a tournament. So this is actually, they beat them in a tournament. I thought it was a scrim at first, but it was an actual match. So this is actually awesome to see. And to be honest, I'm excited to see the future for them as a whole. But let's try to get aBeZy here on the show, guys. Okay, we're going to get him ready. Our first guest is coming on the show in just a little bit here. Well, by the way, intro when he starts coming in, but he's a Call of Duty player for Atlanta FaZe, and our guest today, I mean, is somebody who they call a tiny terror, somebody who might be around my height of 7 feet tall. I mean, I think he would confirm that with me. And they say he came out the womb with sticks in his hands. A COD World League champion and a player for Atlanta FaZe. aBeZy, let's go!
Let's go.
I appreciate it, man. I'm glad to be on the show.
What's going on, dude? How you doing?
Pretty good. What about you, man?
I'm great. It's good to have you on. I mean, we've talked before in Atlanta, but it's nice to talk to you again, bro.
Oh, for sure. It's definitely nice to talk to you, man. I enjoyed our time there together. You know, we got to let our dogs play with each other a little bit, you know. It's a good time.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of which, I wanted to mention that. I mean, like, do you think that the dog meta is real? Because ever since you got that dog, like, you've been absolutely popping off. I think people in the COD League would say that Simp was probably the best player in the world. And then after you got the dog, people were like, holy shit, what the hell happened to aBeZy, man? He hit fucking another mode, right?
You know, it could have been. I don't know. I mean, I also did stop playing Warzone. That was like a big thing that kind of contributed to me, like, not playing as well, I feel like, in the competitive scene. But, yeah, I don't know.
Now, I don't want to bring up drama here, so if you don't want to answer this, totally understand. But with Priesta last year, I know he was big into Warzone and stuff like that. Do you think that attributed to some of the performances later on in the later half of the year? Do you think Warzone potentially could make you worse the game, or do you think that now this is incredible? I don't mean to make this toxic about, because I love Priesta, and I'm sure you love Priesta too. So it's like, do you think that Warzone actually, like you said, has that impact? Can it make you worse at the game, or do you think that playing it, you know, is not detrimental and that you can actually still get better?
Yeah, it could, but I mean, honestly, I feel like it might be like a mental thing, really. For me, I feel like playing other games and like something that isn't competitive, like all the time, it can like cause me to play worse as a player, and especially when I'm more focused on that instead of like competitive. So I feel like for me, it can be like that, but for other people, I feel like it's more so just a mental thing, you know, like if they play it and they still fry in scrims or still do good in like matches, it's not that big of a deal. But with the current game, playing Warzone is kind of like a super negative because it's a completely different play style than the competitive like Cold War right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, how is that? Why is Warzone such a different play style, in your opinion, than like playing a scrim or something like that? Is it just because of the pace? I mean, people say that you're one of the fastest players in Call of Duty right now as a whole. So like you saying Warzone's a lot slower pace basically, and that's why?
Well, the movement I think is different for Warzone than it is for Cold War right now. Because they left the movement the same in Warzone when they switched to Cold War. So the movement feels different compared to Cold War. And I think that's a big reason why you'll rarely ever see pros play Warzone this year. Going into like anything. They'll probably never really play it much. They might play it every now and then just for fun, just to like have some fun with like their friends or something. But I feel like you won't see people grind it as much, or like pro players grind it as much due to the fact that the movement's different, you know?
Oh yeah. So I mean, like, because you've been playing a lot more specifically in scrims and stuff like that, right? So I had a question here, because this is totally different than a lot of other scenes. So I want to give people some background. Like, when you guys stream, I know you don't stream as much, obviously, on Twitch or whatever, on YouTube. But when you see other people, like I think Optic obviously likes to stream their games a lot and stuff like that. Do you think that this is like detrimental? I know that people have been streaming scrims for a long time. It's always been a thing in Call of Duty, but like it's kind of unheard of, I guess, is the way to kind of phrase it for you in like other scenes. Like, this is not really something that other scenes do as much. Like, why is it that COD's always had this environment where people can stream scrims? Is it just because content is king in Call of Duty and that's always kind of been like the motto?
Yeah, I mean, Well, when it comes down to it, for our team personally, we don't like streaming scrims because I feel like it's more so that's time for us to get better as a squad, and we don't really want to like also give away strats or anything we do on the map. You
Yeah.
know, like when it comes to respawn stuff, I feel like Optic doesn't really
Sure.
care because they have such big platforms. You know, like that's a good way for them to make like more money. It's a good way for them to just like show their fans how they're doing in scrims, and I feel like they don't really care as much, even if they do give away strats because their platform is so big. But for us, like I feel like
Yeah.
we definitely would get a lot more viewers, you know, like just because we're streaming scrims and like we're one of the best teams. But we want to like our main mindset and goal is to win, and like we just feel uncomfortable streaming because we don't want people focused on their stream while they're playing. You know, we want to like mainly focus on getting better as a team, and that's
Oh
like
yeah.
our biggest thing. And I just feel like Optic does it because, like I said, they have really big platforms, and that's really good for them. Obviously, like I'm not even like downplaying it. I think they should be doing that just because of how big of a platform they have.
Yeah. Well, does Dallas stream? I don't think Dallas streams as much either, right?
Um,
The Empire doesn't stream it.
yeah, I think they do it rarely. I think they do it
Yeah.
sometimes just to give the fans like something to watch, you know. And I was even talking to our team
Yeah.
like a while back and saying like, yo, we should maybe like throw in a scrim on stream like once every like 2 or 3 weeks just to like show the
Yeah.
fans like how we're doing and like you know give them something to watch because obviously they have to wait until we play a match and like it's been forever since they've seen a match. You know, our last match was in
Oh
August,
yeah.
so it was a long time ago.
But you're
Yeah.
telling me, I think like Call of Duty League starts up this weekend, by the way, right? So you guys are actually playing this weekend, correct?
Yeah, it's on
So
Saturday. Yeah.
So I mean, that's in comparison. Overwatch doesn't start until fucking April. So I mean, it's kind of a godsend that you guys are kind of starting so soon because, like you said, it's been so long since people have seen pro games. But I imagine, I mean, we can kind of transfer this over to a little bit of a more interesting topic. I think, like you said, this is kind of a different mindset than a lot of other Call of Duty teams have, and I think this is the mindset a lot of pro teams have in other scenes. Is that, like you said, you don't want to give away strategies, you don't want to give away potential, rotations and stuff like that you would do. Like a lot of that kind of stuff is best kept behind closed doors and secrets, and the comms especially. I think a lot of people can like kind of take away stuff from your comms and kind of improve their own game. So when you have like your current setup, you guys have Celium, and Celium is probably one of the sweatiest guys in the whole scene, right? I mean, people say that his whole meme with the, you could do a 2 phase up thing is just absolutely one of the best memes. Can you actually like touch on how Celium is as a teammate? Because I think a lot of people don't have too much information about him, I guess, because now you've been playing with him for 2 years, and it's kind of like a lot of people don't know much about him because he's not reserved necessarily. He's just playing the game so much, right? And he's such like he's a crafty kid, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Like the thing with Celium is if you knew him as a person, like you probably think he's the most annoying player. If you're like an Optic fan or something, you're like, oh my god, I hate this kid. But
Yeah.
if you knew how he actually was as a person, he's probably he's literally the nicest pro player in the scene by far. He has like the calmest like personality. He literally would never like say anything to like hurt anybody. Like no joke. Like this is literally the nicest kid in the community in my opinion. And he's the funniest too. Like in my opinion, we get a kick out of just like laughing at him and all this stuff because he just says random things sometimes where it's like, oh my god, like, and we just start dying.
What's this kid say?
No, it's just like you always just say like funny things. Like he has the funniest like food taste. Like he'll get a quesadilla like 3 times a week and just like from like Taco Bell. And we're just like, bro, like he eats no joke. His food tastes are so bad. Like he'll only eat like chicken, quesadillas, and like that's it. Like he literally doesn't eat anything. I'm not kidding. He eats the same thing all the time.
How dare you, bro? Don't shit on the fucking Taco Bell quesadilla, my guy. You're fucking underrating that shit. That's one of the best foods in the world, man. I'm telling you,
No,
dude.
listen. The reason I'm downplaying the Taco Bell quesadilla is because I got it one time and it was just burnt. And that was the first time I've ever got it. I got it one time and it was literally just solid burnt. Like.
Okay, let's be real. Okay, let me be honest with you. I mean, I understand you love Atlanta and you love the FaZe clan in Atlanta and stuff, Atlanta FaZe in Atlanta, but let's be real. Atlanta has some of the the shittiest fast food joints, I think, in every every goddamn city. Let's be real. Like, okay, we love Atlanta as a city, but when you go to the fucking McDonald's next to the apartments we had last year, there's cockroaches crawling everywhere. They're late on everything. They give you the wrong shit when you go through the drive-thru.
No, listen,
I don't think I've had any more problems.
Yeah, I went through the drive-thru at that McDonald's, that same one you're talking about, and I, no joke, waited in line for an hour one night. An hour. Like, I can't. It blows my mind. Like, how? Like, oh my god.
we're making this more personal, but when I drove through that Burger King, we were waiting, like, I think it was on like a Saturday night when there's obviously a bunch of like drunk people trying to get Burger King. We waited an hour in the drive-thru because we just really wanted Burger King. Everybody wanted Burger King. And then we finally show up at the window. We're like, hey, yeah, cash only, by the way. And we're like, fuck, bro, we don't have cash on us. We only got cards.
Cash only, no way.
Dude, Atlanta might be some of the worst fast food in the world. But as a city and as like, I mean, you already experienced with the whole homestand and stuff like that last year, and it sucks we don't have them this year, by the way, for sure. But like the homestand you guys had last year and our homestand as well in the previous year were absolutely fucking fire, right? Like you guys had a fantastic time, and even Banks I think had like some awesome like parties and stuff like that for you guys, and had some cool setups. Like you guys went all out, right? It was a hell of a time.
It was a great time. I really enjoyed our homestand last year. And I mean, it sucks, like you said, that we can't get. Hopefully, we can get back to it sooner than later. But you know, it's I mean, it's tough because we can't do anything right now. You know, like we gotta wait, and hopefully, all this stuff dies down, and then we can get back to the normal like events and stuff. I really hope so because everyone misses them. You know, everyone misses the crowds. Everyone misses the hype behind it. I miss events. Everyone misses events. You know, it was such a good time.
Well, we joked about it. I mean, I remember I joked about it with you when we had our dogs playing around. We were like, I was like, you know, you've played better since coming to online. It's not even necessarily like you were playing bad at LAN, but something I guess kind of like you said, you stopped playing Warzone, I guess, when the transition to online really happened. But when you transitioned to online, you kind of became like not a next level player almost because you were already at that level, but you kind of became like a step ahead, a step further and stuff like that. You think it was simply because Warzone happened, or you just kind of when the LANs kind of slowed down and you had less travel and stuff like that, you kind of just sat at home and were just like, okay, I'm just gonna grind all day, right? Like that was that your mindset? Is that what happened?
I feel like it was more so due to the fact of like me playing Warzone a lot. I was playing very poorly towards the start of the year, and it kind of after like 3 or 4 events of me playing poorly, which my poorly wasn't like super bad. It was just me playing average, you know, to my standards really. And so once I stopped playing Warzone, I started just playing infinitely better. Like once I started playing Warzone, I really focused on the things that I was doing wrong in game and like really trying to like hammer down and play not like more passive, but I noticed towards the end of the year when I started slowing down instead of just constantly just running at the hill or like running straight, like just trying to gun people all the time. Like I played more methodical, and it helped me start playing way better, especially towards the end of the year. Like I was literally frying at the end of the year, you know?
What's like the main differences to you, just for people that aren't just like are just like overall esports fans? What's like the main differences for you between Cold War and then the previous iteration in Call of Duty? Because when you're playing Cold War and stuff like that, when I played Cold War and stuff like that, I was always asking you, like, why aren't there any freaking MNK players and stuff like that? Why aren't there any good MNK players? It's just because this iteration of Cold War, like, is it because the TDK is so low and stuff like that? Like the time to kill is so low that you have like faster, like, I don't know how to, like, what's the main differences to you? Because people have said your playstyle, like I said, is super fucking fast. Like, it's the fastest playstyle right now in terms of the game. Do you think that's just, like, the direct translation between, have you played faster in this game than in the previous one is my point. That's, like, my main question.
Honestly, not really. I feel like this game is a lot, like, slower when it comes to, like, MW because, obviously, we switched from 5v5 to 4v4, and it made the game more methodical, I guess you could say. So I kind of slowed down in this game because you have to like really, you can't mess up. Like this game was good about this game compared to like Modern Warfare is Modern Warfare, there was a lot of bad spawns. The spawn system was not good at all. Basically this game.
What was the biggest meme?
Wait, what?
What was the biggest meme with Rocker? I think it was versus. I think is that the match. There was so many though, right?
Oh yeah,
sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're fine. There was a couple like terrible like spawns that happened during that game, and everyone would just flip out about it. But basically, the biggest like switch from Modern Warfare to this game is like the spawn system is way better, and with an improved spawn system, there's a lot more methodical gameplay going on because you're not just head bashing hills and just head bashing into like certain situations with your team, you know. So this game, I kind of had to slow down even more than I did in Modern Warfare. But honestly, after the first week of the game, I wasn't like a fan of like the movement or anything. But once I got like the movement down and was actually like grinding the game, I loved it. Like now I've like fallen in love with the game. I really enjoy this game. Like this game is so fun to play. It really is.
Well, that's good to hear because I think in the previous previous years, obviously, and with Call of Duty as a whole, like people every year kind of like keep ragging on it, right? Like it seems like every year it's just like it's a giant like negative circle jerk basically. And I'm like, okay, dude, you still have a pretty good version of COD here. And a lot of the maps I think get a lot of hate at the very beginning until people learn them, right? Like a lot of people hated what's the map with the open field and stuff like that? The current one, shit, man. It's been a bit since I played fucking Cold War. I'm sorry.
Is it a competitive map in Cold War? You said?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not as much anymore.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about Cartel, the one with all the bushes.
Yeah, Cartel. Yeah,
with all
Cartel.
the bushes. Yeah, that wasn't a fan of that map for sure.
No,
definitely not.
But I mean, like, so you mentioned how Call of Duty's kind of slowed down because of the 4v4 versus 5v5 like setup, and I know that you recently, because obviously with Major Maniac and then Priesta obviously leaving the team, it's kind of been like bittersweet, right? Because obviously with 5v5 you had one more teammate, it was like also another type bond, and then guess what, the next year back to 4v4 when literally COD was always 4v4, right? And then one year they're like, oh, by the way, 5v5. Do you think the iteration and the change between 5v5 to 4v4 has helped you, and how do you feel about the whole situation with COD League this year?
I'm like happy they switched back to 4v4 because COD was always kind of meant to be 4v4, especially if you look back and like, how the spawn systems work. It like 4v4 was like big, but I mean 5v5 and BO4 in my opinion wasn't that bad due to the fact that the spawn system was really good in BO4 as well. But honestly, the switch, like I'm kind of glad I went back because I enjoy playing 4v4 COD. I think a lot of people did. Because honestly, personally, I enjoy 4v4 S&D way more than 5v5 with how COD is made. But, you know, like, it was like whatever. Like, if it stayed 5v5, I wouldn't really cared. So it's not like, it wasn't that big of a deal, but I don't really, it's not anything serious, you know? I mean, I enjoyed the COD League, like, what they've been doing, like, the past year or so. And I'm super excited for this next coming year. I can't wait, like I said, because of the game. The game is, like, infinitely better to play, and I'm super excited, you know?
Yeah, dude, me neither. I think, like, specifically with at least with watching this weekend, like I've always been a big fan. Like I said, like COD is now my like favorite esport, to be honest. Like watching you guys, the Atlanta FaZe, but like because specifically that kind of got me. It was like the gateway drug in the COD League, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And then I started browsing like the COD competitive Reddit and shit like that. And I know that not many people use it. Do you use Reddit much, aBeZy, by the way? Just want to like touch on that, but not at all.
I use it like rarely. Like I'll go on it like once every like week, you know, just to like scroll through and see how like the headlines and stuff, because some of them just make you laugh, you know, like some of them are like, for instance, like we lose to Optic in a scrim. It's like, dude, FaZe is trash, FaZe is this, FaZe is that, you know, like literally, because I guess since we have like such a talented team this year, like everyone's hating on us, you know, like everyone's like, oh my God, they just want to see your downfall, you know, especially the Optic fans. That's just how Optic is, you know?
Well, it seems like in general, like people always rag on anybody based on that. I mean, like it doesn't really matter which team it is because of the fact that like even people ragging on Optic and shit like that in scrims and whatever. Like you see so much, like at least in that Reddit, it's just kind of interesting because it's either full of memes or people kind of circle jerking about you know why a certain player bad or whatever. To me it's interesting because like I said, like I'm not in the scene necessarily, so like I can kind of just watch it from like a mile away and I'm like, oh shit, they're fucking talking shit and I'm just not involved, so that's nice to see. But then you're like, okay, as a player, you don't want to fucking go to Reddit and shit like that, and it's not fun. But speaking of which, also like players that because your team has changed so much this past year, and it's a little bit of a different dynamic. And now you have Arcity's back reunited, basically, because you guys also played on United in that championship squad. Are you happy to reunite with him finally?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the thing is like Arcity's was one of my favorite teammates in BO4 because me and him were like very close. We were very close, like friends out of game and in game. He was a really good teammate, one of my favorite teammates. He's very good at like giving criticism whenever, you know, you're supposed to be giving criticism. Like he doesn't care. Like he'll just straight up say it. And that's a big thing in COD. But he was definitely like one of my favorite teammates. So I'm super happy to have him back on the team. And in my opinion, whenever he's in the main AR role, he's literally one of the best, like literally so good. He's so talented at the main AR role. So I'm super happy to have him on the team.
Well, he's like a hyper competitive person too, because I know that when we saw like scrims back in the day, because obviously like we said, Optic liked to stream their scrims a lot last year, or sorry, Huntsman did, Chicago Huntsman did a lot, and then I think there was a lot of times where RCDs kind of butted heads with the rest of the crew when they were Twitch streaming and stuff like that, and it was because like the rest of them were like, okay, we're content based, like you said, we're about content here, and RCDs just wants to win, so he's like focusing on that instead of streaming, and that's kind of been a good mesh, right, for your guys' team, because like you said, you guys don't want to stream as much. You guys are like focused on just winning, right? Because that's your guys' goal for this year, right? Is to win the chip again with RCDs, I guess. Because last year you guys got runner up, obviously in second place, but your guys' goal is to win the chip this year, right? I mean, obviously.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely like super competitive, and like I could tell that he didn't want to do the whole streaming thing because of what happened last year with his team. Like you said, he just got very frustrated some days because he felt like a lot of people were focused on their streams, like over actually focusing up on the scrim, like they were mainly focused up on their streams, which can be very annoying. And I mean, even if we were to stream scrims, it would probably happen to us too. We would get sidetracked and like look at our like other monitor and like look at the chat and stuff like that. And so, I mean, he definitely just wants to win, and that's like a big piece that we need. Like I personally want on my team because I just want to win. Like that's my main goal, is to win. I don't really care about streaming scrims or anything like that. Like I'm mainly focused on just getting better as a team.
And that's kind of like an intangible term that's kind of hard for people to understand, is like, at least in pro gaming, I think this is kind of transferable like across all esports, is that when you play a game or whatever, when you play Overwatch, you play COD or whatever game it is, it's not like people are saying like, we'll focus on the game, just focus for it. But it's like, no, when you're actually playing the game, if you have a Twitch chat on your side, if you have a crowd behind you, any sort of situation that could throw you off actually matters, because every reaction, especially in COD, because it's so fast paced, because everything's happening in such close range and stuff like that, you need to be kind of glued to the monitor. And people kind of underrate like what exactly focus is. Like you need to be locked in 100% of the time, right? Like that's the tough part, is that like you not only have to play a lot of hours, you got to play a lot of COD, you got to play a lot of the esport you're playing, but on top of that, you got to play well focused, right? And like, what do you do to stay focused? What do you do to kind of stay locked in? Is there any sort of regiment you have, or is it just sit down and play? Eventually you get some food in you.
No, yeah, pretty much just like I don't really have much. Like obviously when I'm playing matches and stuff, I like to, if I have, for instance, I have 3 monitors or whatever, like my main thing for me to do is like turn every monitor off except for the one I'm playing on. That's like a big thing for me, because I don't want to look over at another monitor during the middle of a game on accident, or do anything that's gonna get me like not focused in like for the match. So literally me, like the only thing I really do is turn my monitors off. I like my pregame, I'll just like listen to music like most people do, just to get like my head in the game and stuff like that. But mainly just like turn monitors off, that way I don't get sidetracked.
Well, because I mean, we mentioned how like previously you've won obviously a chip with United back in 2019, right? And it's been a little bit different than a LAN event for sure. And like the biggest thing is that people don't realize is in the LAN event, in that finals, can you explain like the difference between that finals in the United finals and then the current, like the previous one in the CDL against Dallas Empire? Was there like a specific difference between playing in that finals at LAN than there was online, or was because like when you're playing online, it kind of feels like you're playing a scrim, right? It kind of feels like there's no crowd, there's not as much engagement, so it's just like, okay, I can just kind of lock in. Whereas at that LAN with the United, you guys kind of fucking dominated, right? Like back in 2018, you guys dominated in that finals, right?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it was definitely way different. Like the feeling of winning that champs with a crowd, like the crowd it was back in 2019. Was absolutely just insane. It can't be rematched. And like you said, it is true. When you're playing online, especially your own setup for a match, it definitely sometimes feels like a scrim, and that's what I don't really like about it. But I mean, obviously we have to deal with it. It's how everything is right now. But it definitely sucks. Like it's not the same feeling. It's definitely not the same feeling at all.
Well, I wanted to touch on that because of the fact that you guys, I mean, obviously it was hard to even get to that finals over the course of the year, because obviously you guys dominated throughout a large portion of the year, to be honest. Like you guys were absolutely on fire through most of CDL last year. And then obviously Dallas Empire was kind of just a tough competition, to be honest. Like, what do you think about Shotzi and Ilya and the rest of that crew that had a good game versus you guys in the finals? What's your take, and what was your emotions, I guess, after that match versus Dallas Empire last year?
I mean, those guys are very talented. You know, they were up and coming players in the S&D scene, kind of like how me and Simp were, and it was a matter of time before they broke out and became like very good pro players, and as they are. And you know, that team, it was a tough fight against them the whole year, really. I mean, we won game 5 against them like 3 times when it switched to online.
I remember the
was
phase map 5.
Oh yeah, it was literally like 3 times in a row. We played like game 5 against them like 3 times in a row, and then we literally lost them like once until champs, but it was always like a super close match, even though we only lost to them like once before we got the champs. And when we got the champs, you know, like we went to game 5 with them in winners finals and we lost to them. And I mean, they just played way better, and they had way more strategies when it came to the game 5 when we played them on Ramaza. They I don't know if you remember, but they were using this spot where you could see their names through the walls. Like they could see their names through the walls pretty much in the finals.
Yeah.
And that kind of caught us off guard because we didn't think no one would really use those spots, you know, like but we knew about them. We just never used them because we didn't think anyone would use them. But you know, Clay's gonna use stuff like that. It's Clay.
He's a sneaky bastard. Dude.
No,
he
really is. He really is. But I mean, that team is super talented, and they're also going to be they're going to put up a great fight against us this year, as will Optic. I mean, those are both like great teams coming into the year, so super excited to play them.
You mentioned the differences between Modern Warfare and in Cold War. I mean, was Modern Warfare one of the glitchier CODs? Was it like one of the glitchiest CODs? Because I know that specifically we had like there was a lot of aim assist bugs with like behind cover and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of that situation. And now Cold War is like I'm not seeing too many people complain about some of the mechanics in Cold War, right? It's like Modern Warfare was a lot more in terms of like was it the buggiest like COD or like one of the buggiest CODs you played?
Oh yeah, I mean it definitely was. Like there was just a lot of different things that were kind of just like messed up about the game. But like I said, there was 2 different spots on that they used against us in finals. They used one against us in finals and one against us in the winners finals.
Were they both on Ramada or Maza?
No. There was one on Ramaza. It was the one that he was using in the top of the building, and then the other one was on Gunrunner. He was looking at our names coming into the little U place on outside of the bathrooms. Pretty much, you could see our name through that wall. So they were using that one as well. But there was just a lot of like weird like bugs and stuff with like the game. And I mean, definitely glad to be on this new game, Cold War, because it's way more enjoyable with how everything is right now. And I'm super excited, like I said, to play the game this whole year. It's fun to actually play this game.
Well, I just want your opinion before we let you go here, because this is, I mean, you're a short 30-minute interview, so thanks for coming on, by the way, aBeZy. But in terms of, like, your top players right now, aBeZy, okay, so I want to ask you what your top 3 players are this year in CDL. I know this is a little bit clickbaiting. I understand that if you don't want to answer this, I totally get it. And you could just say your teammates, so that's, actually, no, let's not. No teammates in this top 3 players, okay? All right? No teammates. And then also, what's your top 3 teams currently going into this weekend for the CDL matchups?
Okay. Top 3 players.
We give you time to think about it.
Top 3 players. Let's see.
No teammates.
This is a tough one, honestly.
I know.
I don't want to give gas away, you know, like I don't like giving free gas away to other players.
All right. We could say, okay. How about this? You already said RCD's is one of your top like teammates. Who's your top 3 teammates that you've played with over your course your entire career? So even in E6, even in United and stuff like that. What's your top 3 teammates in like overall Call of Duty? Like who you've played with basically?
Honestly, if I was to say my top 3 teammates, it would probably be my whole team right now. Or honestly, it could be interchangeable with Celium and Pristini, because Pristini was Alex's brother. He was really, really fun to play with. You know, it was funny because on our old United team, him and Alec, obviously they're brothers, so they would fight all the time. Like in scrims and stuff, they would get super mad at each other, and they would just be throwing daggers at each other back and forth. Like it was the funniest thing. Like there'll be days where we would just like not be playing that well as a team, and then they would get into an argument, and they would just constantly be going back and forth with each other, and we're all just sitting there laughing at them because it was hilarious. But honestly,
for like a few hours, so
it would just be like a constant like argument for like 30 minutes, and then by the end of it they'll just be calling each other names like back and forth. It was hilarious. But if I had to say like my top 3 teammates, it would probably be like RCD's Simp, obviously, because me and him are like a duo, and we've been nasty together for 2.5 years now, or 2.5. Yeah, it's about 2.5 years. And then either Pristini or Celium. I love playing with Celium as well because his personality is just hilarious, you know. But that'd probably be my top 3 teammates. And then as for the top 3 teams that you were asking me about going into the weekend, I'd probably say I can't wait to watch Minnesota play because they've been doing decently well in scrims. And honestly, they play very fundamentally correct.
Yeah.
As a team going into this year. And then also I'd say Optic and Dallas just because I can't wait to kind of like see how they do for their matches. I forgot really who Optic and Dallas play, but either way, they're both really good teams, so I can't wait to watch them play, you know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, and you mentioned how you like playing with Simp and stuff like that. And in the past, I mean, we can end it off on this. Do you think, because I've been meaning to ask you, with the whole Tiny Terrors tagline that you have, do you think it's offensive or do you like it? Like, are you tired of it? Do you think that it's kind of annoying that people, like, have given you a tag based on your guys' height? Because, listen, I mean, we're 7 foot tall. Obviously, me and you were both massive individuals. But when you and Simp came on the scene, people were calling you the Tiny Terrors. Are you tired of that tag fate, or were you annoyed by it at all, or like at first or anything?
Honestly, not really. It doesn't really bother me at this point. I kind of just like go along with it and, you know, like say it whenever, but it doesn't really bother me. It was kind of funny how it came to be. I don't even remember how, like who said it or like how it became like a thing, but it fits perfectly. You know, it really does fit our like play styles perfectly as me and him being both sub players. So, I mean, I don't really care. It doesn't really affect me in any way. I think it's kind of cool, but yeah, it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of the more interesting, at least like unique, like names that people have given a duo ever.
Oh, it is.
But thanks, aBeZy, bro. Thanks for coming on the show, dude.
No
it was
problem,
nice to
man.
see you. Oh, yeah?
No, wait, what are you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, thanks for coming on, bro. I mean, it's nice to see you again, obviously. I mean, we can't even meet in person because obviously with COVID, we can't really hang out.
Yeah, are you still
but
in
you guys are
Atlanta?
moving around? No, I moved back to Arizona.
Oh, okay.
It's terrible internet here. Never moved here. But people hate on us for no reason. They saw actually there's potential expansion teams. Not this year, obviously, but for CDL. I think they were saying that like they were looking at Las Vegas, they were looking at DC and Charlotte for some reason. But I mean, like, do you think CDL? I guess we can end on this because this is a question I'm wondering. Do you think that CDL could use another team in Call of Duty, or like, no? You think this like already 12 is good enough?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think eventually it'd be cool for them to, but I'm not really sure. Like, I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea because the competition right now is so like high. With all these like even 12 teams, the competition is crazy. So I don't know though. Honestly, I have no idea if they should or not. Like, but if they did, I mean, I guess it'd be cool to like have other cities and stuff in the league. You know, that'd be a really cool, cool thing to do or like have in the league. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks, aBeZy. Thanks for coming on, bro. It's been nice chatting with you. We'll catch you later, all right?
Yeah, it was fun, man. I appreciate you having me on.
I love you, bro. See you later, all right?
Man.
Adios, aBeZy. All right, boys. That was fun. Dude, aBeZy's a nice fucking kid. He's awesome.
You love each other.
It's true. My God. Dude. I love the COD scene. Like I said, I know you're a little bit of an asshole when it comes to it, Anthony. You're a little bit of a dick. But to be honest with you,
we'll let you know too.
Yeah, and Anthony will let you know about it pretty much. So I don't know. I personally love the COD scene. I mean, obviously, like I'm a big fan of aBeZy. I'm a big fan of the FaZe crew in general. I mean, like not even ironically. It's just like seriously. Like I love these guys, and I think they're one of the more interesting and talented groups of guys out there. And I hope they do well this year. It's tough. It's tough because I've seen results in scrims from Dallas Empire absolutely fucking doing insane, Opti doing insane. All these teams, like you said, it's hyper competitive right now. Like think about it. This team, Atlanta FaZe, should be like the top team, but they're not because of the fact that, or they're not there just yet. It's like so competitive. Like think about it. Like talent wise, these guys have the talent to be the top team in the world for sure. But also Dallas Empire has the talent to be the top team in the world, and that's what makes it so hard. Is that even Optic also has the talent to be the top team in the world. The parity is so fucking close. And it's so tough. Like you said, Rocker, he was giving some gas to his former teammates, to Major Maniac, to Priesta, and stuff like that. So that's cool to see. I'm glad he loves those guys. I mean, they were a tight group of dudes as well. But to be honest, I'm excited to watch COD League this weekend and LCS. Dude, this week is fucking nuts. I'm excited for it. It's Wednesday. It was Weenie Hut Junior Wednesday. You guys are terrible on that. Where's Anthony in this, bro? Fuck you, man. God damn it, Anthony. As always, Anthony ruining the show at the end. It's never me. It's always Anthony.
No.
There it is.
No, that's just not true.
All right. Thanks for coming, guys. This was a fun one. I like talking to aBeZy. Like, seriously, I'm a big fan of him in the COD League in general. So, you know, a little bit of a fanboy here. We'll catch you guys later. See you in the next show tomorrow, Thursday. Don't miss it. It's a terrific Thursday, boys. Terrific
What do we
Thursday.
got on
Be there.
tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we've got on potentially Matthew DeLisi. So be hyped for that shit if he responds to me. Because apparently he's scrimming at night, so there's a potential issue with that. He's scrimming at night, like, because his teammates are in Korea right now. But there's a huge chance we get Matthew DeLisi on the show tomorrow. So be excited for that if we can. And if he doesn't come on, we're not going to have a guest. So I'll be incredibly sad. We need to convince Super to come on 100 though. Catch you guys later. Thank you to Sam and Toberto and I almost missed that as well. I almost missed the fucking most important part. But thank you to guys. Without them, the dog shit. And we'll catch you guys later. Let me know if you want to be called Bowerman Boys or Dogmen. What do you think, Max and Anthony? Should we call everybody who watches Dogmen or Bowerman Boys? What's a better nickname?
Why's it got to be so masculine, man?
Come on, wait! Don't do this. Don't do this. We've already been through so much shit, man. Don't fucking do this to us. See you guys tomorrow. Fuck. God damn it, Max.
Huh.
Don't, Anthony.
It's the dream.
Is he gonna do it?
We'll be weaves.
The weeds.